welcome to my channel. My name is Captain Mavie, and guess what? Buccaneer! Today we have another reaction, and I really hope you like. So this time we're gonna react to this video called Fallout 4, but every gun fires nukes. This video is from REGGIE. It's gonna be my first time reacting to REGGIE, and I really hope you like, and I really hope I get to like this video because this video has been recommended to me, and this channel has been recommended to me so many times, so I'm so excited to react. And yeah, Buccaneer, let's do this. Let's do this, and I'm gonna move Buccaneer. Let's move to the side. Let's react, Buccaneer, in 3, 2, 1. Boom.
I want to introduce you to a world where bullets were never invented. Instead, humanity went straight to nuclear weapons, meaning that every firearm, from a homemade pistol to a minigun, is capable of unleashing Armageddon upon your enemies. In this world, there are only 3 rules. 1, you shoot first, or you don't shoot at all. 2, you should always have a backup plan in case you run out of ammo. And the most important of all is that water gun fights are now strictly off limits. In a post-apocalyptic setting such as this, there's only one thing left to do. Slavery. If you've ever watched a soot-encrusted Indonesian man mining sulfur for 7 cents a day and thought to yourself, damn, he's ripping us all off, then I have news for you, because we are the same person. All of that is to say, I'm a big fan of capitalism, and when it comes to maximizing shareholder value, nowhere does it better than Nuka-World. Some people will call this a defunct amusement park taken over by erotic cosplayers, but really, it's just a different kind of amusement now, because we have hundreds of people forced into slave labor using explosive collars. From the moment I saw this 8 years ago, I knew it was my destiny to be the CEO of this wonderful business. So that's our goal.
What a great
Utilize
idea,
weapons of mass destruction to take over Nuka-World and usher in an era of mega slavery. Can we succeed, or will we be stopped by literally anyone with a gun? There's only one way to tell. But first, I have to watch my wife get shot.
Oh no!
That part plays out a little differently in this timeline. So my wife and son were vaporized in a thermonuclear blast.
Oh, no.
Unfortunate, but from their ashes a hero was born. We escape the vault and enter into a world whose color scheme could best be described as 50 shades of vomit. From here, we could go straight to Nuka-World, but we're level 1, and we have about as many items as a paranoid schizophrenic who thinks the government is spying on him through his microwave. So instead, we'll spend a few hours gathering supplies and trying to reach level 15,
and
at which
get
point
stronger.
we should be ready. I saunter my way into what I assume is modern-day Los Angeles, at which point a cockney robot attempts to socialize with me, but that's exactly what they expect me to do. So instead, I jump on top of my neighbor's roof and dive headfirst into a pool of radioactive sewage. That ought to throw them off. Our first goal is to find a gun, because the power spike from punching things to nuking things is pretty substantial. After wandering around, I find a dead body with a revolver on it, and upon testing it out on some nearby wildlife, I was both excited and terrified at the world I had created.
Well, you know, the explosive
I
is
made
not
my way
too
into
much.
a nearby town where usually a small group of bandits is fighting with some Minutemen. But now a small group of bandits is committing a nuclear holocaust with some Minutemen. And if you think this is bad, you should have seen it before we reduced the explosion effects. Anyway, I tried silently assassinating the raiders.
Question.
This was
So this is a mod that not just you will fire nukes, but the other NPC, everyone is gonna fire nukes, right? Everything. So if they shoot you, you can receive. Holy, this is so interesting. I would like to try. No, but I need to I need to try it like normal mode first, right?
With very limited success. Eventually, I got tired of role-playing as a high-altitude weather balloon, so I nuked the bandits and entered the museum to help the Minutemen. Or rather, I tried to enter the museum, because as dangerous as nuclear warfare is outside, it's 10 times worse inside. And I got spawn-killed for about 20 minutes before I finally made it past the front door. But by that point, I had been ground zero for roughly 35 nuclear detonations. My ears were ringing, my retinas were fried, and there was a very distinct possibility of me vomiting all over my keyboard. But my noble goal gave me the strength to continue. From here, I went room by room, clearing out the raiders in close quarters combat. This is a fantastic way to learn the exact blast radius of a nuclear bomb. Because if you're off by even an inch, your limbs will will eject from your body like rocket-propelled grenades. Eventually, I made it to Preston Garvey, who wasted no time complaining about how hard his life is. Just wait until he hears about my plans for Nuka-World. Preston had me climb up to the roof and equip this suit of power armor. I was feeling very confident until a drug-fueled maniac popped out from around a corner and gave me both barrels of his shotgun, a phrase which has recently intensified in meaning since each pellet is now its own nuke. Honestly, I had a lot of difficulty at this section because the minigun takes half a second to spin up, and if a raider happens to squeeze out even a single shot in that time, it's all over. But if I've learned anything from watching a homeless man avoid arrest by drinking his vodka out of an antifreeze bottle, it's that necessity breeds innovation. Come to think of it, that might have actually just been antifreeze. Regardless, I pioneered a new combat strategy, that is the mortar technique. Instead of shooting at my enemies, I just kind of carpet bombed the entire town with poorly.
Oh my god, that's such a great idea, actually.
Aimed artillery. And it worked really well.
Said,
From here, I jumped off the roof and did my best to crush Preston
he killed
like
everyone.
an ant.
What are you, crazy?
When that failed, I settled for finishing off the raiders and laughing at the Deathclaw's attempt to intimidate me. Following this, I went inside, Preston thanked me, and Mama Murphy gave me the perfect setup for a joke.
We're all gonna die eventually.
Yep. After reloading, we all went to Sanctuary and started drinking from the same toilet bowl because we are now friends. In fact, Sturgis asked me if I could build everyone some beds so they didn't have to sleep underneath bridges and inside of burnt-out cars. I looked him straight in the eye and said I would do that. Of course, I was lying. In fact, I immediately left Sanctuary and never contacted any of these strange people again in my entire life. At this point, we're level 3, and I've got a decent selection of guns, but I'd still like to gain access to some better perks before taking on Nuka-World. So I began doing odd jobs around the wasteland. First mission, a filthy woman wants me to go to this place and kill all of these people. No problem. I traveled to the Corvega factory
so
and
I believe it's kind of easy because, I mean, one shot and they're all dead, but you need to have a little bit of strategy so you don't die trying, you know, because they will do the same to you. I like that.
Using my mortar technique to soften up their defenses. It takes only 9 seconds for me to accidentally nuke myself. That's a personal best. Eventually, I make my way inside and begin atomizing the inhabitants while the building vibrates violently with each shot. Luckily, the other raiders convinced themselves it was just the wind. Now, you might think the best weapon for room clearing would be a shotgun, but you'd be wrong, and I found this out the hard way, because the spread on a shotgun means it's almost impossible to aim it straight, and despite your best efforts, you will hit either the floor or the ceiling, and the resulting blast will almost certainly turn you into a human jigsaw puzzle.
You will die
this happened to me more
well.
times than I'd like to admit. Before I begrudgingly filed the double-barrel shotgun next to Reggie Fan Meetup in the category of things that sound fun but will probably get me killed. I also tried hacking into this cute little security robot so he could help me clear out the bandits. He lasted all of 3 seconds before they murdered him in cold blood.
Yeah! Oh, Jesus Christ.
This was the single biggest mistake the raiders could have made, because his existence was the only thing stopping me from doing this.
Now he doesn't care. He doesn't
yes, indeed.
care
the bandits
anymore.
were dead. Completing this quest got us to level 6 and allowed me to unlock the Mysterious Stranger perk, which is now substantially more satisfying because yes, he does shoot nuclear bombs.
Can I
this was good, but we still have a long way to go, so I continued on my quest to convert every living being into experience points.
Is that my Oshi? It's like my Oshi. Guys, you have any Oshis? I have many Oshis.
Allowed me to unlock the Mysterious Stranger.
I wonder, guys, you know what? I always ask myself, I don't know, guys, you like VTubers? Or, I mean, I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to explain. But do you actually watch VTubers or you don't? Because I only watch VTubers, guys. Well, I also watch another creators, of course, but most of the time, like let's say 80% of my daily content are from VTubers. Do you? Or the same or no? Or just watch videos, reactions, or videos and stuff like that. But you actually watch VTubers. That's what I want to know. If it is like that, who do you watch, guys? I watch Nimi, I watch Minto, I watch Iron Mouse, Shy Lily. Who else I watch? Bao, I like. She's very funny. Who else? I watch so many VTubers. Depends on what they're doing. If they're playing a game I like, if they're playing something I like, if they're just being silly. I don't know. Depends, you know. Depends. But I mostly watch VTubers. I don't know why I came up with this question, but because I saw Fauna. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very
which is
random.
now substantially more
I'm a very
satisfying
random
because
person.
yes, he does shoot nuclear bombs. This was
And now-
good, but we still have a long way to go, so I continued on my
Yes,
quest to convert
shit,
every
my
living
oh
being
shit.
into experience points. It went a little like this. I start the day with some train yard hobos. First you shoot them, then you beat them. 8
no.
experience each. Also, tried my hand at cattle wrangling.
Oh, you'll do that too. Oh my god.
I think I'm a natural. Shipyard, break into a shipyard. It's full of murder crabs.
Oh, how many?
Now it's
how
not.
many
Apparently, the owner was trying to
experience?
domesticate them by playing soothing messages on the PA. It didn't work. That was
Only
a lot of
minis
effort.
eat
Let's go
meat.
ahead and take a
I'm a
rest for the
mini
night
guy.
in this old building.
I'm a mini
Never
guys.
mind, the universe hates us and we've just been ambushed in our sleep by attack dogs. Plunge the world into nuclear
sorry, my
winter
nose
in
is stuffy,
retaliation.
guys.
After that, I went to Bunker Hill where I spent 20 minutes marveling at the ugliest human being I have ever seen, which is strong words coming from someone who looks in the mirror every morning. Once I was done, I went to the Drumlin Diner to try to negotiate peace between some raiders and the store owner. When I told the lady I wouldn't be taking her side, she presented me with a very compelling argument.
Oh my god!
What was that?
But two can play at that game.
So, okay.
Say what you want, but this is the fastest method of de-escalation. Following this, we got a quest to kill everyone
Jesus.
inside this preschool. Don't worry.
So, well, if she said no and she killed you after, it's better to prevent, right? Just kill everyone in game and that's it. Well, not everyone, because maybe you'll get a good deal out of one NPC, but perhaps, yeah.
The kids are already dead. We're
kill
just killing the
everyone.
raiders. I moved to every room with extreme prejudice, but still died anyway because the whole
No.
place is booby-trapped and tripwire guns now fire atomic bombs.
Holy.
But it's okay, because we can always retreat to the public bathroom to brew more health potions. Eventually, I find their leader and introduce him to the concept of a glory hole before stuffing his charred corpse into a garbage bin. Finally, I finish by releasing all of his captives, except for you. Someone has to stay
Who is
behind
that?
to tell the people about my good deeds. After all that, we're
no,
now level 10, and
for
I've even
that
figured out how
guy.
to craft bear traps, which I have
Yeah.
successfully stress tested on a small child. Works like a charm. Let's finish up a few more quests and then go straight to Nuka-World. I was in Bunker Hill admiring the absolute girth of this man's biceps
Jesus.
when I was approached by Edward Deegan. He took me to Cabot House to accept a quest from John Cabot, who wants us to steal some secret serum from a psychotic gentleman
Oh,
living in a shack on top of a hill, which is fine. However, John bears a striking resemblance to the Zodiac Killer, and so I wasn't sure if I
Who's
could
that?
trust him. That's why I covertly stole and hid exactly one of his pool balls. If he betrays me, he'll never get this back, and the loss of a singular ball in an otherwise perfect set will almost certainly drive him to a suicidal rage. This is what we call establishing collateral. Anyway, I went to the insane guy's shack to get the serum, but an acorn fell on the ground and it spooked me, so I spent the next 55 seconds nuking the man's house until I stopped getting hit markers.
Wow. What the frick? Guys, question. So he have like 182 bullets, but like grenades? 182 grenades? Oh my god.
I grabbed the vial, went back to Cabot, lied to him and said the serum was gone before taking it out of my inventory, waving it in front of his face, and injecting it into my neck just for fun. For good measure, I also smashed a bunch of his research equipment and stole this fancy camera. Only one more quest to go, then we're off to Nuka-World. It's time to go help Paladin Danse.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on
I rushed to his distress signal as fast as I could, but upon arriving, it seemed like he had things under control.
Wow.
Hi.
I talked to Danse, and he asked me to accompany him on a mission to salvage technology from some nearby ruins. This quest was
Guys,
awful, but I
Latinoamérica.
do have a few tips. First of all, you're going to come across a gang of bandits robbing some traders. This is an interesting interaction that I recommend observing from a distance. Second, if you hear any variation of the phrase, "we've got company," you need to run for cover, because there is a 90% chance Paladin Danse is about to pivot like LeBron James and nuke the shit out of you for being within 20 feet of a bloatfly.
Yeah. We got company,
If and when you do finally make it to the destination, the synths inside are very dangerous, so I recommend a tactical approach, such as watching through a sheet of plexiglass as Paladin Danse does all the hard work. Also, when you get to the basement, don't forget to accidentally melt off Dance's face with this rocket exhaust. Trust me, he actually likes it. After that, you just go upstairs, grab the tech, and it's all over. It's not a great quest, but it does give us the junk jet, which is some kind of pneumatic catapult for weaponizing random garbage. While it doesn't fire atomic bombs, it does allow me to kill my opponents by cracking them in the forehead with dirty cigarette trays, which is something that resonates with me deeply. Finally, we're now level 16 with maxed out luck, a few helpful perks, and a new rifle that has a 50-round drum mag along with a bayonet for close quarters combat. But before we go any further, I need to warn you about something, because the fine people at Makeshift have infiltrated my apartment, stolen my genetic material, and created hundreds of clones of me that are conveniently the correct size and shape to fit inside of a mason jar. But you wouldn't do that to me, right? Anyway, for a limited time, we're going to be selling these REGGIE plushies, and I highly recommend picking one up. But Reggie, what can I use this for? Well, I like to use mine as my own personal hostage. You see, he's relatively small, which makes him very easy to overpower. Sometimes I also like to wave a big knife in front of his face. It fills me with a sense of control that I've long since lost in my life. Also, he has no legs with which...
I have so many pets, Buccaneers. I have Claudio, which is a crab with a knife. I have Coco, which is a seagull. I think if you come to my stream, you will see her. I have Coco. I have Pepito, which is a parrot with a hat, and yeah, she's really grumpy. Pepito, that's Pepito, the parrot, and I have what else? I have a turtle. I don't remember the turtle name. I have so many pets because I do really love animals, so I decided to have as many pets as I want as a VTuber, you know. So I have a turtle. I don't remember her name. We named her on stream one time. And what else do we have? I don't remember. But yeah, we have a lot. So the first plushie will be Buccaneer plush, which is you. The second will be Coco, and then Claudio, and the last one is Mavie plushie. One day, guys, one day we will make that dream come true. One day we will have a lot of plushies. Yes, I dream about that day, you know.
To run, no mouth with which to scream, only eyes with which he may observe me perform my elaborate war dances as I prepare to take his life. But if that's not exactly your style, he also makes a pretty good stress ball. So you've got 30 days to take me hostage. Do you think you have what it takes? If so, click the pinned link in the comments and put yourself down for as much of me as you think you can handle. Then prepare yourself. Now back to the video. I arrived at the Nuka-World Transit Center with determination, because from here we can take a tram to the amusement park. The only thing stopping us is a small army of bandits, robots, and rooftop snipers.
So I guess you gotta do
times at this part before I settled on.
I think he has to do the technique again, like just shooting everywhere, boom 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 boom, until he kills everything on the place.
Just firing 30 nukes into the sky and hiding in a parking garage while all of my enemies were turned to ash. I made my way down to the tram where this guy was telling me raiders had taken his family hostage at Nuka-World. Apparently he escaped but was shot in the process. But the fact he didn't have a single drop of blood anywhere on his body led me to believe this man was a liar. So I politely excused myself, loaded up my junk jet with steel ingots, and then came back and pulverized his heart with a high-velocity metal slug. Now his story about being wounded is a lot more believable. After this, I jumped on the tram and it took me to the promised land. I arrived and it was beautiful. A voice came over the speaker and told me two things. One, I'm trapped, and two, the only way to escape is to survive the gauntlet. I surveyed my surroundings and found the dead bodies of several half-eaten male prostitutes. So I'm going to go ahead and say my chances aren't great, but
Male
let's give it a shot.
prostitutes?
Room 1. A large
How do
lobby
you
full
know
of
they
rusted
were
junk. If the tetanus
prostitutes?
doesn't kill you, the machine gun turrets
Ah!
firing nukes definitely will. Also, the ceilings are very low, which makes it easy for you to blow yourself
I have a
up. So I
question.
recommend you...
So this game have autosave or no? It does have autosave. Because imagine, guys, if the saving system is similar to Kingdom Come Deliverance with Save Your Snatch or something like that, you know, yeah, you need to take an item or an item or going somewhere to save. Does this game have like saving, escape, and save? Or imagine that would be so complicated, you know, like to finishing the game this way and trying to save. Jesus, right?
Using VATS. Even if your chance to hit is low, it doesn't really matter, because atomic bombs are more of a to whom it may concern type weapon anyway. After that, it's on to room 2. This room was supposed to be armed with several booby traps. However, the nuclear detonation we unleashed on the last room seems to have spilled over and disabled most of them. The key word being most. After reassembling my body parts, I moved to room 3, which presented us with 3 doors to choose from. Door 2 was a room full of human heads, which appear to have been decapitated in the middle of nutting, while door 3 contained a bouquet of live grenades. I'm flattered. Escaping through door 1 led us to a radiation room which was giving me 60 rads per second. In order to avoid developing stage 4 League of Legends, I took a near lethal dose of radiation medication and ran around in a fugue state until I found the keys to escape. Next was a maze full of bizarre traps and animatronic aliens.
Oh no!
Fairly simple, just don't
well, those
underestimate the
aliens are-
overgrown rats, because they will not hesitate to put you down. After this was a tunnel
At least the aliens are not shooting nukes.
full of landmines.
I mean, like
Sprint through it at
bombs.
top speed
Being
and across
bombs.
this definitely up-to-code wooden bridge. Uh-oh, it collapsed, and you're now being attacked by shellfish. Assert terrestrial dominance before proceeding to the hardest room of all, the gas chamber. It's here where we get locked into a room which is quickly filling with phosphine gas. If we don't get through this door in the next 30 seconds, we'll be dead. So here's the plan. Take a bunch of drugs to numb the pain of your lungs being dissolved. Stab all these bugs while making sure to fill your pockets with their succulent meat for later. And then hop on this computer and open the escape door. That leads us to a shed full of flying ants, which are surprisingly difficult to hit with a nuke. The torture of this room is a little more abstract, but it's very real nonetheless. Then
You need
quickly
to
run through
shoot
this
everywhere.
cage area while people shoot at you from above. Just kidding, you can't do this quickly and you're going to die at least a dozen times. But after that, we're finally at the last stage of the gauntlet. See that guy down there in the power armor covered in blood? Yeah, we're going to fight him and he's invincible. But we have a secret weapon. It's not a high-powered
The nukes?
rifle or even a rocket launcher. Instead, our secret weapon is a plastic water gun. The plan,
What?
in theory, is that our enemy is receiving power to his suit from this exposed electrical line. And if we can cover him in water, well, that probably wouldn't be very good. Alright, let's give it a shot. They counted us down and
Oh my god, that's so clever.
opened the gates, at which point I charged headfirst into my opponent. He responded by blowing off all of my limbs with a nuclear bomb. Clearly, we need a different approach. The guy is actually invincible, but I found out that I can stay in the starting area and snipe him with the water gun to disable his armor. Then I followed up with like 20 nukes to finish him off. Following this, a lot of exposition happens, but I'm going to summarize it really quickly. That guy we just electrocuted? Yeah, he was the CEO of Nuka-World, and the raiders that live here seem to put a lot of respect on violently murdering your political opponents, so they now recognize me as their
awful.
leader. This is fantastic, and it comes with a lot of perks. For example, I now live at the peak of Fizztop Mountain with a lovely view over all of my employees.
Employees, quote unquote.
Now one of my elite employees.
Also, since I'm the boss, I can
What is that video?
go to the market, steal things
Illegal
right out of the display
employees?
case, and then sell them back to the shop owner for free money. The downside is that Nuka-World is divided into 6 parks, with only one of them being under our control. So it's our job to liberate the remaining parks directly into my authoritarian governance. Then, once we have them, we can distribute them to the different raider factions according to which of their political philosophies I find the most amusing. So it's time to go meet the gangs. Operating out of Fizztop Mountain is the Disciples, which is a faction that couldn't be any edgier even if they were actively
Oh my God,
pulverizing the
this
elderly
game
in a
seems so
hydraulic
much fun.
press. This is strangely juxtaposed against the fact that they don't know how many belts you can wear before people stop taking you seriously. Overall, they're my second favorite. The second faction is the Operators. Their primary
The
concern is making money at the cost of human life, which is my personal favorite philosophy. However, they have some shared mental disorder which precludes them from wearing clothes that actually fit. I don't know exactly why, but this makes me extraordinarily angry, and I regularly have to restrain myself from killing them. Fortunately, I found a good compromise. Instead of creating a civil war by nuking their entire faction, I just swing by every few days, find a random operator, and secretly deposit a live grenade in his pocket.
Oh! Oh!
Lastly, there's the pack. They have a relatively experimental aesthetic, along with a
What the
nice selection of chairs. But whenever you want to talk to their leader, you're going to be forced to listen
Is that a chair? What
to the
frick?
bite.mp3
Is the game
sound
by
effect
default
for hours
like
on
this?
end, because they installed a dogfight pit in the middle of their base. This immediately and irrevocably disqualifies them from receiving any further attention from me whatsoever.
Galactic World.
With introductions out of the way, it's time to start expanding our operation and making some big money. There's 5 parks to acquire: Galactic World, Dry Rock Gulch, Safari Adventure, the Nuka-Cola bottling plant, and Kiddie Kingdom. First up is
Kiddie
Galactic
Kingdom,
World.
Kiddie
This is a
Land.
space-themed park inhabited by
Remind
hundreds
me
of
of,
robots. However,
Left 4
someone
Dead.
spilled their Dr. Pepper on the AI mainframe, and it caused the robots to become violent murder machines. It's not great for
Oh.
business, so I went there and started fighting my way through the streets. The first thing I noticed was that there's plenty of laser turrets all over the premises. Luckily,
How
they
are
don't
you
seem to
gonna-
work very well, and usually spend their entire time in a life-or-death battle against the ceiling. However, don't get too comfortable, because on at least one occasion, the air pressure from these explosions caused my cranium to detonate forcefully. Other than that,
Jesus
just keep an eye out for
Christ.
Mr. Frothy, who is very fast and will startle you into jumping off a bridge and subsequently dying in a nuclear explosion.
Oh!
Anyway, I
Jesus.
made my way to
Like,
the control
everything is
room,
so
where I'm able to
dangerous.
turn off the robots. Only problem, it's broken, and it needs a total of 20 star cores to repair it. Unfortunately, they're scattered all over the park in the safekeeping of several automatons that would like to crush my neck like a can of soda. But much like a
Wow.
restraining order, I viewed this as a challenge rather than a problem. Do you really
Yeah.
think I can't get within 100 feet of you? So I began wandering around looking for these cores, which led me to a building called the Robco Battle Zone. My hopes of this name being metaphorical were quickly dashed when upon entering I died about 37 different times.
Oh,
Part of the issue is that the
wow.
mini nuke mod isn't working perfectly on the robots, and some of them are shooting me
I'll
with laser
do,
beams.
like,
while
before
my supple
entering in every place, just start shooting like crazy, and that's it. Oh, someone is cutting grass. Someone is cutting grass. Oh my god. Okay.
body is perfectly
you are not
optimized
able
for
to hear
dying
that.
in nuclear explosions. It does very little to protect me against this space-age technology. But just like how the lifeguards at the YMCA can't stop me from drinking the pool water,
Oh
these
my
robots
God.
couldn't stop me from blasting my way into the battle zone. At which point, I was
Boom,
promptly
boom,
locked
boom, boom,
inside
boom,
and
boom,
forced to
boom.
fight a variety of enemies which entered from these doors and these hydraulic platforms. The
Uh-oh.
robots were tough, but the primary difficulty in this cramped space was finding a place to detonate a nuke that wouldn't instantly vaporize
Kill
me.
you,
First,
yeah,
we had to
of
survive some
course.
protectrons and a swarm of iBots. No problem.
Oh wow, that's a
Then it was on
really
to the
difficult
Novatrons,
task.
even easier. Then our final
really?
opponent was the Space
seems-
Sentry.
Hard. Oh Jesus. Boing. And die and die and die and die. Holy. Run, friend!
Yeah,
Oh no, guys.
he got the better of me. But as the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me
Fool me
twice,
twice.
I'll obliterate you with nuclear weapons. And we did just that. With the battle zone conquered, I gathered all the space cores and moved on to the next building, the Interstellar Theater. Surely a fucking theater can't be as dangerous as the battle zone, I
Boom,
thought to
boom,
myself.
boom.
But boy, was I wrong. Very, very, very wrong. The entire auditorium was full of robots, and honestly, I was only able to conquer this area through the repeated use of a strategy I like to call kill one guy and then save the game. While searching for the star
yes,
cores, I found a
has-
Nuka-Cola mixing station.
It have the saving system, like, imagine, yes, imagine to save in the other way. Holy mother, will be a total challenge.
Which allowed me to combine a Nuka-Cola beer with another Nuka-Cola beer to create double beer. Some people will claim
Double
that AI
beer.
and vaccines are the greatest advancements of the past century, but to that I ask, can you get drunk on polio vaccines? I didn't think so. That's why double beer is the real scientific pinnacle of our generation. After completing my schizophrenic monologue about alcohol, I found the star cores next to a few decomposing junkies in the washroom. Very
Okay.
nice. The last building wasn't as
Very
bad.
nice.
Vault Tech Among the Stars is a
Very
recreation
nice
vault
indeed.
life experience, outfitted with realistic living rooms, indoor gardens, and even an entire room dedicated
love
to giving you
indoor
cancer.
gardens.
I'm feeling nostalgic already. Strangely, as my character progressed through this area, he was getting recurring headaches. I chalked it up to a brain tumor and thought nothing of it, but it turns out the whole vault was actually just one giant experiment in subliminal messaging.
Akira!
According to this observation log,
Akira!
they're broadcasting a high frequency over the PA that's meant to induce degenerate behavior such as pissing your pants. Joke's on them, they just wasted millions of dollars to make me do something that I was already going to do anyway. Following
Like-
this, I slaughtered a bunch of automatons, found a really
Yes.
nice shotgun, immediately flashed back to all of those times I killed myself with a shotgun,
Oh,
and then
no.
quickly unequipped it before finding the remaining star cores and rushing back to the mainframe. With the help of computer
So
scientist extraordinaire and definitely not dead person Kendall Alston, I was able to repair the computer and pacify all of the AI, meaning we can now walk around the park without having to worry about a medical robot electrifying our testicles. With the robots subjugated, I went upstairs and raised a flag to officiate the conquest of Galactic
he
World.
got
Our
it.
empire
Let's
is expanding, and the
go.
next theater of war is the Wild West.
Dry rock.
Dry Rock Gulch is an arid wasteland inhabited primarily by dead
it
bodies,
doesn't look-
which should make it an easy target. So I made my
Yeah.
way there and quickly realized where all the dead bodies came from, because within moments of arriving, I was attacked by
like that one.
subterranean bloodworms. Yeah, these little bastards tunnel around underground and then ambush you when
So
you least
this time
expect
it's
it, which means they're either
monsters.
underground, so you can't kill them, or they're firmly
Okay.
latched onto your jugular vein in such
So this one is are harder to kill, but you can avoid, right? Like avoid shooting. He can also maybe do something else, right?
a way that makes using a nuclear bomb seem a little too risky. In this case, I recommend treating the entire area as a high-stakes game of the floor is lava. Eventually, I came down to chat with the sheriff, who informed me that he'll give us the park if we can get rid of the bandits
course, the
coming out of this
sheriff is a
building.
machine.
One problem, the building is locked, and I need combination codes from the Giddy Up Kid, One-Eyed Ike, and Phosphorus Pete to gain entry. I really wish he told me this before I carpet bombed the entire park, because I'm pretty sure I killed all of those people. This was an irritating development, but my anger quickly faded after the sheriff appointed me as his deputy and gave me this excellent cowboy outfit. Upon reloading the safe,
Oh my god, let me close the window. I'm so sorry. Okay, it is better now. I'm sorry, Buccaneer. Technical issues, Buccaneer.
I found the Giddy Up Kid, who explained that some cattle rustlers had stolen his loyal steed, and he wants me to bring it back. In case you're wondering, he's talking about an inanimate object, but it was like 4 a.m. at this point in the recording, so I just played along with it.
Rustle up some horses for you, huh, cowboy? I'll be back before sundown.
I searched the grounds for all of 13 seconds before finding the torso of a Giddy Up Buttercup stuffed inside this man's anal cavity. I grabbed it and dropped its dismembered body inside the horse pen. Our
What
friend
the
was
frick?
mildly dismayed.
What happened to Kiddie Up Buttercup? They butchered her up like a cow.
But he still gave us his part of the combination code, so I don't really care. Next, I sauntered into a saloon where I met Phosphorus Pete. He wants us to deliver some Nuka-Cola to the residents of Dry Rock Gulch. No problem.
The people of Dry Rock Gulch.
And before you ask, yes, all of the people we delivered soda to were in fact dead
Oh,
bodies,
they were
which
dead,
I made
of
sure to tell
course.
Pete.
I'm afraid everyone's
They're all
dead.
dead. Nobody needs.
That ain't good.
Doesn't matter though, the quest is done and Pete rewarded us with his code along with a large quantity of alcoholic Nuka-Cola, which I quickly became addicted to. From here, I sought out One-Eyed Ike to complete our final test, which, much to my dismay, would be a duel at 10 paces. Ike gave me a 44 Magnum and started counting down, but unfortunately I was still stun-locked by the idea that an amusement park mascot was programmed to hand out loaded revolvers to children before shooting them, which resulted in Ike getting the better of me. Second attempt at the duel, I won, but I won a little too hard, and Ike wasn't alive to give me his code. Third time's the charm. For this, I decided to swap to the junk jet, and after blasting Ike in the head with a steel ingot and an empty beer bottle, he conceded defeat and gave me the final piece of code. Now we can enter this mine shaft, destroy the bloodworm queen, and claim Dry Rock Gulch. Honestly, this part was pretty easy.
Wait, you
There's
do
really
what
only
with the
two things you need.
You do what with the bloodworm queen?
At the duel, I won, but I won a little too hard, and Ike wasn't alive to give me his code. Third time's the charm. For this, I decided to swap to the junk jet, and after blasting Ike in the head with a steel ingot and an empty beer bottle, he conceded.
So he didn't fire any nuke back at you.
Defeat and gave me the final piece of code. Now we can enter this mine shaft, destroy the bloodworm queen, and claim Dry Rock Gulch. Honestly, this part was pretty easy. There's really only two things you need to do. One, make sure you break into the office so you can equip this cool duster and pretend you're playing an actually good Fallout game. And this last thing should go without saying, but do not jump in the pit full of dead cows, because they'll erupt with dozens of bloodworms and it makes for a very stressful experience. Other than that, I just nuked everything inside and completed the quest. Not too bad. After raising the flag, we're all done at Dry Rock Gulch, and on to the next target, Safari Adventure. I approached the park and observed a man doing battle with a large creature. I chased it off by shooting it with 3 nukes, all of which it survived. This was not a good sign. Anyway, the guy started talking to me, and from a distance I had assumed he was some kind of male stripper, meant to appeal to the female fantasy of being bludgeoned to death with a sledgehammer. But actually, he's just a caveman who was raised by gorillas, which is marginally more believable. His name is Cedo, and he used his caveman dialect to explain that Safari Adventure is overrun with gator claws that are being cloned in a big triangle house, and I need to disable the cloning machine to claim the park. I briefly considered putting a revolver in my mouth as a preferable alternative, but after I heard him using 150% of his brain power to forcibly enunciate the word facility, I felt bad and accepted the quest.
Facility.
So I set out searching for a key to the triangle.
That's me, guys. Trying to speak English.
House, and thankfully the gators weren't much of a problem. I mean, they didn't have any nukes, which was a pretty big deal right off the bat. However, they are very tanky, so just use literally any gun that goes full auto, and you should be absolutely fine. In fact, if you want to make it especially simple, you can just go to the top of this treehouse and firebomb the entire map. Honestly, I think the hardest battle I had here was against my alcoholism that I had acquired in Dry Rock Gulch. Eventually, I found the key, let myself into the cloning facility, and started clearing it out. I felt kind of guilty for slaughtering all these dumb animals with nuclear weapons, so I thought I'd try fist fighting one of them just to get my anger levels back up again. It worked like a charm. Anyway, I blasted some gators, hacked into this computer, and turned off the cloning device. I told Cedo the good news, and he was so excited that he gifted me a rocket-propelled aluminum bat that presumably he has engineered himself. Not really clear on that. What I am clear on is that the park now belongs to us. On that note, let's go to the 4th park, the Nuka-Cola bottling plant.
The last one, right?
An industrial complex which, judging by the automated turrets and unmarked minefields, was probably run by Jeff Bezos. There's also a little section called the World of Refreshments, which I spent some time exploring. And by exploring, I mean I was pulverizing crustaceans to death with a baseball bat. Back outside, I was feeling...
So it is better for him now because now he has a bat to boom, boom, bunk. Now he's gonna bunk
a little guilty about the power disparity between myself and the crabs. So I decided to handicap myself by asserting my vertebrate dominance with nothing but a flare gun. This was a massive mistake, because out of the lake emerged the Queen Mirelurk, and she's pretty tough. A direct hit with the nuke does about 10% damage, and sometimes she likes to spit acid on me and melt off all of my skin. And as if that wasn't bad enough, she has a whole harem of Mirelurk kings to chase me down and pound the shit out of me while I'm reloading. However, I navigated this problem by applying my universal solution, which was was
What?
to take a lot of drugs and run really fast. This helped create some distance, which allowed me to pick off the ads before circling back and slow motion nuking the Queen Mirelurk to an early retirement. I
Jesus.
cannot imagine how
Imagine
embarrassing it
doing
must
that.
be to have your
Imagine doing that without in a normal weapon, perhaps, because I believe like the nukes are they do a lot of damage, right? Imagine doing that with less damage. It's gonna be a pain.
entire colony destroyed by this dickhead, but luckily she won't have to worry about that because she's dead and the bottling plant is now ours. On to the next target.
Let's go! Oh, Kiddie
This is
Kingdom!
it, the final perk,
The final,
Kiddie Kingdom.
okay.
As a professional YouTuber who owns a copy of Minecraft, this could be the most dangerous park of them all. Previously
Really?
a children's theme park with several rides and a castle, it has now been renovated into an industrial gas chamber, with radioactive fumes being pumped into the area at regular intervals. Also, it's inhabited by hundreds of feral ghouls, which are relatively easy to kill.
Kill
However,
them.
they close distance very quickly, and melee combat has become substantially more hazardous, thanks to the mysterious stranger who sometimes shows up and nukes the shit out of me. The only
Holy
upside is that I have this
mother.
cryogenic shoulder pad, which sometimes freezes my enemies solid, at
Nice.
which point I can take
You know what? I used to play, I don't know much about Fallout. I'm planning to play it after I finish all my unfinished games. After I finish my unfinished games, one day I will... No, it's not one day. I'm doing good this time. I made a decision, okay, to unfinish. And it's not too much. It's only Dark Souls, Minecraft, I do believe. Like, those are the games I need to finish. Okay, so once I finish those two, I'm gonna start with Fallout and you know, I know very little because I started to play, but I'm not sure about the whole lore and everything. But I was playing Fallout in my cell phone, and there was this guy who appears all the time and give you like coins if you click on it. He's like ba-da-ba-ba-bum, and then you click on it and blah blah blah, give you a lot of coins. So that's the guy. That's this the same guy? Is this? I'm so sorry. I give you a lot of context just to ask a simple question.
with
Is
radioactive fumes being
Wait.
pumped into the area at regular intervals. Also, it's inhabited by hundreds of
Where?
feral ghouls, which are relatively easy to kill. However, they close
Where is
distance
it?
very quickly, and melee combat has become substantially more hazardous, thanks to the mysterious
Right.
stranger who sometimes
So this is the guy from the game, like do 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 do, and you click on it, and they give you a lot of coins in the cell phone game, like Fallout Shelter. Is this so in game they give you bullets instead that shoot you instead of giving you coins?
shows up and nukes the shit out of me. The only
Holy
upside is that I have this
mother.
cryogenic shoulder pad, which sometimes freezes my enemies solid, at which point
Oh.
I can take my time knocking off all of their limbs with a baseball bat. Anyway,
Jesus.
our goal here is to defeat Oswald the Outrageous and
Oh,
seize
wow.
control of the park. He's hiding somewhere, and I decided to start my search in the funhouse. Upon entering, we had to navigate a labyrinth of mirrors, which was fairly
Oh,
easy
no.
because none of the mirrors were reflective. Instead, they appeared to be coated in several layers of dried ejaculant. However, while I was marveling at the artisanal craftsmanship
What
of the
the
mirrors,
freak?
I failed to notice the several landmines scattered about the floor. After limping my way through the maze, I spot Oswald in this control room. I attempt to get closer, and he throws a grenade at me. What a dick. From here, I engage
Whoa.
in what was either high-level platforming or low-level astronaut training, before entering the hallway of hypnosis. I won't lie, this part was actually mildly disorienting.
what game
in
is
fact,
this?
at
I
one
wanna
point,
play
I
it.
had to use a dead guy just to confirm
I
I wasn't
need to
actually
play.
hallucinating.
I don't care, guys. I'm like Dory, you know. Every time I get a spoiler, my mind will forget it. I'm just like Dory, guys. Yes, I will forget about it. if I get a spoil.
I fumbled my way through this section and into a spinning room with about 24 doors
What?
all around it. One door led to that thing that happens when you open OBS. Another presented us with the illusion of a happy family. And of course, there was the classic room full of flamethrowers, positively delightful. By the time I found the correct door, Oswald had already escaped, so I moved on to search for him in King Cola's castle. Never mind. It turns out the park has more traps than I thought, not the least of which are the amusement rides themselves. In fact, I have personally witnessed several park employees being killed, maimed, or otherwise dismembered by the rides here, and it's only been like 20 minutes. Of course, I had to try this for myself with the roller coaster carts, and I realized that it's a lot like boxing. When you expect to get hit, it doesn't do that much damage, but it's the punch you don't see coming that will decimate you. After this, I strolled around the park a bit more, killing ghouls and rummaging through garbage bins, until I wandered my way into some employee tunnels. I sprinted through the tunnels like a wild animal, at which point I found Oswald talking to one of his staff members in his office. Naturally, I wanted to return the grenade he had thrown at me earlier. This did not work, and I felt like an idiot. So I just kind of took that one on the chin. But it wasn't all bad, because after Oswald disappeared in a puff of smoke, I went into the office and found my next stylistic evolution. Oh yeah, this is gonna work just fine. Alright, well that...
What is that clothing? Guys, is this for real? I mean, is this happened in the OG game? Like without mods and everything? Why? Those looks like woman clothing, like for summer, you know.
Does it? There's only one place left for Oswald to be hiding, the theater. I broke in with all the grace of a homeless drug addict and started talking with Oswald. He was trying to convince me that he has magical abilities, and he said he was going to show me one of his greatest tricks. Then he punched me in the head and ran away. Truly a master of the mystical arts. I followed him up to the roof, where he gave me some shitty story about being a sympathetic villain. But at this point, I was so tired of chasing him around the park and getting hit by roller coasters that I opted for immediate violence. In response, Oswald unleashed his most powerful magic trick of all, crashing my game.
No!
3 minutes later, we were back, and the fight was on. Oswald was much higher level than me, and he had a grand time cutting off my limbs with his fancy sword. However, I managed to counter this by simply jumping over a railing, at which point he could no longer stab me. His method of coping with this was to bathe me in Molotov cocktails, but they don't hurt that much, and I've got enough drugs to stay up here for weeks. I am aware that this tactic borders on cheating, so I'm prepared to negotiate. Instead of staying up here and nuking Oswald into oblivion, I will instead empty out the entire contents of my junk section into the junk jet and kill Oswald with the physical manifestations of my hoarding disorder. This included everything from light bulbs to rolls of duct tape, but the primary ingredient was 156 stacks of pre-war money, which I spent the next 20 minutes bouncing off Oswald's head. This was very enjoyable, albeit not especially effective, because Oswald seems to legitimately be invincible. I shot him with 200 junk items, he barely noticed, ran him into 6 fragmentation mines, he walked it off, and even when I got desperate enough to nuke him, he would just reset his health bar. This kind of freaked me out, so I panicked and shot him like 50 times, at which point I realized he wasn't damage immune, just damage resistant, and now he's dead. I stole his clothing in order to complete my Charlie and the Chocolate Factory cosplay, and quickly raised the flag on Kiddie Kingdom, indicating our complete conquest over Nuka-World. All that's left to do is to go to the power station and press the big red button to finally power up the park. And just like that, we are the CEO of the world's finest slavery-themed amusement park, which gives us quite a few benefits. For example, all of the rides are now operational. And I can't confirm this, but it is my personal headcanon that we're receiving our electricity from a small armada of slaves running on hamster wheels. Also, we can even gather up a gang of raiders and go out into the Commonwealth to recruit more employees through what I like to call competitive hiring practices. So now that we've achieved our primary goal, what's left for us? Well, according to mustache enthusiast Christopher Vogler, the final stage of the hero's journey is to return home as a changed man. In our case, that would be Sanctuary, and as a matter of fact, I am a changed man. Because whatever final thread of sanity had previously prevented me from killing all of these people has finally been severed.
Kill them all!
Well, it's finally
Yes.
over. We've conquered a world where the only projectile ever invented was nuclear bombs.
This
I want to
is-
thank this month's patrons for supporting the channel. Don't forget to check
Oh, that
out
was an
Makeshift to
amazing
purchase
video.
and abuse my likeness. And finally, thank you for watching.
Clapoo, W video. I liked it so much. It was a very interesting video. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I loved it. I hope you like my reaction, and I hope you can recommend me more videos like this one because I really enjoy it. Now I want to play Fallout. Yes, sir. Okay guys, so yeah. Thank you so much for watching Buccaneer. If you enjoyed my reaction, don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, share your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, bye-bye!